Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me, and as always, we bringing it to you from ESPN 97.5, 92.5. And I want to thank everybody that's hanging out with us today. Like Brad always say, let us know where you're from. We got to know where you're from. And more importantly, we appreciate you guys being here. Bradley, how you doing, man?
You know, Buck, I'm doing good. We were talking a little bit before we went live. I had my fourth COVID shot. And I'll be honest with you. And I'm not trying to scare anybody or anything, but I've had COVID and I've had the COVID shots. The shots give me I have more effect from that than I do from the COVID. You know, I was chilly, I was shaking, but you know what? I'm feeling good. I was actually looking forward to this whole day.
Hey man, when I got that first booster, man, my arm hurt for like 2 weeks. And I was like, man, it sounded like somebody hit me in the shoulder with a hammer. and I was like, man, did this go away or what? Because it was affecting my workouts and everything. But you know, it's worth it. It's worth it.
100%.
I just had a battle with a slight battle of COVID not too long ago, man. And I tell you, man, it's a monster, man. It's a monster.
Yeah, I mean, so it's not. That's what I'm saying. Like, I can only imagine what it would be like if I wasn't vaccinated. Yeah. Right? It would probably be terrible. I mean, remember you and I both got it back in 2020.
Same time.
Same time. And we're talking about the strong stuff.
Oh,
we're not talking about BA2. We're talking about OG COVID.
Man, I was outside just working in my yard, and I was like, wait a minute, why am I so weak? I've been out there 15 minutes. You know, I'm sweating. I'm like, what's going on? I lost 10 pounds, you know, so definitely, man, I think it's worth it, man. If you haven't gotten it, I say, you know, give it a try, because me personally, I want to be around here as long as I possibly can. I just do not want to let something like COVID take me out of the game. I'm serious. I don't want to go out like that.
Well, you know, I have parents who are advanced age, right? Like my dad's in his late 70s, so it's like, that's what I'm getting it for. Like, I don't want to get it and then pass it on to somebody, right? So if I can do something that's going to prevent me from getting it at all, I'm not so much worried about myself as I am, you know, for the others around me. So, you know, do yourself and do everyone else around you a favor. But Book, I mean, how have you been? Because last we spoke, you had some like rejuvenation therapy done to your knees. And you were talking about doing the running man and all kinds of stuff, shooting, dunking. How are you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling awesome. I ain't lying, man. It's like a stem cell therapy in the knees. And I swear, I wish I'd have did this 15 years ago. I wish I would have did this when I was still wrestling. I don't know if they had it back then. But I swear, man, I feel like a totally different person as far as just getting out of the car, getting up off the sofa. I swear, man, it's life-changing, bro. And I'm just hoping that it lasts for give me a good run with this right here. And they say you know, the first time you do it, you know, it's for the regeneration of the cartilage. You know, so it may take you, you know, 2-3 times, maybe just one time. But for me, you know, I'm like Superman. It's probably just gonna take one time. But nah, man, I'm feeling good, bro. I mean, I haven't felt this good in 10 years, maybe better.
That's incredible. And I don't really understand the science behind it. Like, I don't get how putting your blood, spinning it around and re-injecting it, I don't understand how that helps. Did they explain the science to you?
I didn't even want to know. I just said, does it make me feel good? Can I walk quicker? You know, is my golf game gonna, you know, be a little bit more stable throughout 18 holes? Yes, give it to me.
Just go ahead and give me the son of a gun.
I tell you though, man, I was scared like crazy, man. Charmian was in that hole in my hand. And I ain't lying either. You know what I mean?
The 35-time wrestling champion, the 2-time Hall of Famer, the winner of the pre-show pose down, one of the toughest men in the history of the business.
I was scared, man. I swear. No, the thing is, when they take your blood, right? When they draw your blood, I swear, man, you got to be, a seasoned professional to be able to draw blood from me, right? Because my veins like run away when a needle. I swear, I'm not playing. They literally hide when the needle come out, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's something that happens with my body. I don't know how it happens. And normally they'll stick me with the needle, draw the blood, and they'll miss the vein. And then they'll have to do it again. And I'm going to tell you, the first poke is one thing, but the second one, good God, that thing hurt so bad. I've actually walked out of the office a couple of times when that happened to me. And I was so afraid that this woman was going to miss it. And she said, no, you just got to make sure your veins, you got to hold it because of the roll. I could tell it was trying to get away from me. And she hit me perfect, man. And I didn't even look, before it was over with, before I knew it, it was over. And then they had to leave, go spin the blood, come back, and then hit me with the needle in my knees. And I definitely didn't know how that was going to feel. But they put this real cold stuff on there first. They freeze your knee. And as they're freezing it, they hit you with the needle at the same time. Ooh. So you really don't feel it. And I was so afraid, man. I was jumping. I was holding my head. Oh, God, man. I got through it, bro. But scary, man. But I feel much better now. I feel much better.
Hey, modern medicine.
I'm going to play golf on Saturday, man. I'll be playing golf on Saturday. I got a speaking engagement for You're Worth It. And I'm going to be there. I'm in Dallas on Friday and Saturday. And I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to go play golf down there with my cousin and, test the old knees out.
This is going to be the real test, though. This is the real test. If you can get through 18 on these knees, right, this is the test.
Yeah, man, it's stupid, man. I you know me, I've always been in the gadgets, the boom, you know what I mean?
The hammer.
The hammer 500-yard drive. And then I got that Mannequin's, the one that got the hinge in it. And I said, man, I'm tired of buying these gadgets. And I went and bought me a driver Mannequins. I just couldn't help myself, man. I went and bought it. And I swear, man, since I've been using it, my stroke, I can't wait to get back on the course, man. I can't wait to get on the course. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. So looking forward to getting out there in Dallas this weekend. But no, we got to take a break coming up here real soon. But people, I want people to know something. I want people to know that this is not the AEW channel. People hear me talk about AEW a lot, because a lot of people ask a lot of questions about what's going on in AEW and they want my opinion on it. And I don't mind giving it, you know what I mean? I don't mind giving my opinion on that, but I don't want people to think that I'm just here to talk about AEW. I definitely want to talk about what went on with WWE this week, especially with the title change and whatnot. I want to talk about what went on at UFC 279 because, man, for some reason, man, I feel like a little light today as far as my pocket goes. I feel like I've been robbed. So we definitely got to talk about, that right there. I want to talk about the Jake Paul situation coming up with Anderson Silva. Something that we had talked about before. I just want to reiterate on it. I got a lot I want to talk about, a lot I want to get off my chest today. So, guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. Oh, yeah. Plus, we're going to be taking your questions also. All super chatters get carte blanche treatment, of course. But guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. And I tell you, man, I cannot wait because right now I'm feeling good. I told you guys I had a little therapy done on the knees, a PRP therapy, man. I told you I was going to be dunking in a couple of days. But today, I was doing the running, man. I'm back. I'm back. So I'm just saying.
You're back in 1985.
I'm feeling good. Why had to slow me down for a minute, man? Because I thought I was kid and play.
Paid monetary spokesperson for Walker, Texas lawyer.
Hey, this is Booker T.
And I'm Queen Charmel.
Everybody out there, we will be supporting HBCU football on CW39.
As a Spelman grad, I know I'm supporting them. But remember, if you're injured in an accident, who you gonna call?
Walker, the Texas lawyer.
That's right.
Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Boom! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Yeah, man. We definitely needs to talk about. You know what? Before we even get started, man, film study. I've been doing film study with my students as of late, and we got one going down tomorrow night. All my students, all you guys, make sure you get the link. Make sure you sign in because we got lots we got to talk about as far as getting my young guys on track. Reality of Wrestling, guys. If you haven't checked it out, check it out on YouTube as well as here locally in Houston on channel 39. Check your local listings. But what I really wanted to talk about was UFC 279 went down this weekend at the T-Mobile Arena. Man, only thing I wish about that fight, if as far as being there, it was in Vegas. Oh my goodness, love going to Vegas, man. Just to hang out, man. Just the scenery, as well as, man. Yeah, that's another story. The fight that was supposed to go down was Chimaev versus Diaz. Fight didn't go off because Chimaev was 8 pounds over?
8.5.
8.5 pounds over. So they switched it up. Diaz versus Tony Ferguson, Chimaev versus Kevin Holland. And me personally, man, I feel like that should not have been a pay-per-view. Okay. I feel like that just should have been a regular, freebie. There should have been a freebie for the fans. The Dana White should have did the right thing on that right there and say, man, we can't do this. We can't do this to the people. Tony Ferguson hadn't won a fight in I don't know how long. Tony Ferguson almost got beat so bad his last 2 fights. Seemed like he should have he was like at that retirement stage, to come back to be headlining a damn pay-per-view. That's ridiculous. And Kevin Holland, as well as Chimaev, Chimaev against the right person, like the BMF, perhaps maybe a pay-per-view. But against Kevin Holland is not a pay-per-view fighter.
No.
He hadn't worked his way up to that level yet. And to put him in that position for us to have to pay for it to see it, I just thought I thought Dana White and the UFC dropped the ball on it. They missed the boat on this. They missed a moment where they could have just gave the people, because the fight, just say with Chimaev and Kevin Holland. Now, we know this guy, Chimaev, this guy's a mat technician. This guy's a wrestler. He could do it on the ground all day long with anybody. Okay. And I feel like the same thing would have happened to Diaz. Same exact thing. But with Kevin Holland has nowhere near the ground experience as a Diaz. To be in there with someone like that was a walkthrough. I mean, Kevin Holland had no chance. It was like a little boy in there. It was like a fish out of water. And for us to have had to pay for that, I just thought it was a miscarriage of justice. And I just want to say that. I don't know how you felt about UFC 279, other than it being in Vegas. I didn't miss a damn thing.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think that not only was it a miscarriage of justice to sell that as a pay-per-view fight, I think it was a miscarriage of justice to the fighters involved who actually did their job and made the weight. Kevin Holland made his weight. Nate Diaz made his weight. Tony Ferguson made his weight, and to do all this shifting around and these changes because Chimaev, look, as far as I'm concerned, as a professional fighter, you have 2 jobs. Like, you have 2 things in your job description, right? One of them is go out there on fight night and fight. And the other part of being a pro fighter is what? Making weight. Those are your 2 jobs. And to me, if a guy comes 7, 8 pounds overweight, guess what? I don't think you were trying that hard to make weight.
Yeah.
You might have thought before you got up that morning to go down to the scales and step on it, we might have an issue here.
Well, not just that morning, that week.
That week,
I mean,
2 days before.
The thing is that you wasn't on weight a week before and say, "Well, I'm good," and then show up the day of making the weight. You 8.5 pounds over. That it doesn't happen that way. I don't know what the motive was as far as him missing weight. There's no way you cannot not know you're that heavy. That far over. There's no way you can't know that. So I don't know. I don't know what was the thought process. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he just didn't want to fight Diaz because he respected him or something. I don't know. Maybe it had to be something.
Something was up.
Because I don't think it was because he didn't think that he could not have beaten Nate Diaz. I don't think that was it. I do know Nate Diaz would be a bigger notch on his belt than Kevin Holland. So it had to be, man, I don't want to beat this guy up. Maybe that was it.
It could have been. I just think it's disrespectful. I think it's disrespectful as a fighter to not show up at weight.
What did you think about the Chimaev Holland fight? What did you think about it?
It kind of went as I guess you would expect, seeing what we've seen from Khamzat before, and given kind of Kevin Holland's tier on the pecking order where he is as far as the ABC fighters. I wasn't shocked by the decision or shocked by the outcome, I should say, but I do think it's wildly unfair to Kevin Holland. I think it's wildly unfair, and to me, UFC's kind of holding you over a barrel because they're like, hey, so yeah, I mean, the fight that you were planning on and training for the last 6-8 weeks, yeah, that's not happening anymore. So you can either fight Khamzat or you can go home. What do you want to do? And then you're a fighter. This is how you make your money. You're going to say, oh, well, I guess I'm going to take the fight. What else am I going to do? I got to take the fight. I want to make some money. And a fight that you have not had any time to prepare for. None. Zero. I just think it's unfair. I mean, even Nate was talking about fighting Tony. He's like, hey, I haven't been training to fight him. I've been training to fight Khamzat. So he's like, I'm gonna go home tonight and watch some YouTube videos.
You know what? I think he was okay. Okay, I think.
Well, he was more okay than Kevin Holland.
Was in a much safer place than Kevin Holland.
Agreed.
As far as having to, think about, did I train hard enough? Come on here. But I just thought it is what it is. As far as Diaz Ferguson, what you think about that one?
You talked about how Tony's over his last few performances was at that retirement stage. It looked like maybe Ferguson. He was great at one point. He was very good at one point. But I don't think he has it anymore. And I think he knows he's at the tail end of it because I think he was trying to talk himself up for the fight. He was calling himself the best fighter ever going into this Nate Diaz fight.
Did you hear him talk after?
I didn't hear his post-fight. What did he say?
I think one of the guys asked him at the I think it was after the fight at the Swarm. I can't remember. I just know I remember hearing it. And he said, what do you think after your fourth loss in a row? And Tony Ferguson said, I don't look at it as a loss. I look at it as growth as a fighter. That's what he said. And I get it. You know what I mean?
I mean, part of me appreciates that, but let's be real.
I get it. You know what I mean? As a fighter, you're going to fight to the end and you still feel like you're learning. You always, that's just the nature of the beast in a fighter. Still, wanting to have, that run, of course, but still feel like, man, I still can learn. I still got more I could add to my, my game, So I get it, man. But dude's fighting a tough war.
I mean, listen to this. I mean, this is just in the last 5 fights. A knockout, lost to Justin Gaethje, lost to decision to Charles Oliveira, lost to Benil Darush by decision, lost to Michael Chandler by knockout, and then lost to Nate Diaz via submission.
Oh, that's 6 fights.
That's 5 fights.
Okay, that's what it was. How did it feel after losing
5 in a row?
Yeah. I mean, I was like, wow. And it's crazy. Like you say, this guy was on a undefeated streak. I mean, a win streak like no other.
Yeah.
Undefeated, but a win streak like no other. And then Boom. Just like that. That's all it takes. That's all it takes in a fight game for you could be, on top of the world one day and then, the next day, bottom fall out and you just can't get it back, And I always said too, once you've been, beat to, a certain point, where it separates your senses, man. I just don't think you're never the same fighter ever again. Tony Ferguson was such a unique fighter. I mean, to the point to where we thought he could beat Khabib, perhaps.
He was in the conversation.
I mean,
right?
we thought if it was anybody at one point, it was Tony Ferguson. And wow, what a difference a day make.
Ever since that fight in Florida against Justin Gaethje during the pandemic, you remember that was the first pay-per-view, I believe, for UFC during the pandemic with no fans.
Yeah.
And you remember you could hear the beating he took from Justin Gaethje.
Oh man, I thought the referee should have had the wherewithal to stop that fight a whole lot sooner than it actually was. I mean, Tony Ferguson didn't know what he was at the end of that fight. But we got to take a break, guys. We got to take a break. Stick around. You in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. You worth it.
13 years, the King of Solar Screens has been an industry leader, and we proudly use 100% American-made products. Home of the $55 any size, any color solar screen.
Well, what about arches?
$55.
What about circles?
$55.
What about rectangles?
$55.
Any size, any color, installed free. The King of Solar Screens, on time, every time.
Now, can you dig that, sucker? Can you dig it, sucker? Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Just talking about everything in sports and entertainment as well as combat sports here today inside the Hall of Fame. Just talking about UFC 279, how big of a disappointment it was to me. And hopefully we can get a whole lot better than that, because I can't wait to get back to Vegas, man. I can't wait to get back to one of these big shows. I know Deontay Wilder, he's getting ready to fight, but that fight gonna be at the Barclays, man. I ain't going there. I'm staying at home. I'm serious, it's just too hectic going to the Barclays, man. Plus them New Yorkers, man, they get rowdy, man. They get rowdy. But it is good to see Deontay Wilder make his way back to the square circle, taking on Helenius. It's a foreigner, but foreigner's bad. Foreigner's bad. So look, we'll see how that play out. But another fight I want to talk about, Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva coming up. And I said Jake Paul was going to stop Anderson. I said he's going to stop.
You said that.
Said he's going to stop him. And the thing was, I didn't remember the Silva versus Chavez Jr. fight, but I went back and watched it. And but I've always known what kind of fighter Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Has been. This guy, he's not cut from the same cloth as his dad. In no way, shape, form, or fashion. He's never has been. He's always looked like he was he looked promising at one point, but that point has been passed, a long time ago, as far as what kind of fighter Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Is or was or ever will be. I cannot compare Silva versus Chavez Jr. and get a gauge as far as where Anderson Silva is, other than he's better than Chavez Jr.
Well, I mean, let me look it up. Man, I do recall Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. It's not like he had some punk record where he was 1-57.
Cesar Chavez fought nobody. He has not one notable win on his record.
Well, who's Jake Paul fought?
That's not my point.
Yeah.
That's not my point at all.
Well, I'm just
My point is Julio Cesar Chavez is a boxer, supposed to be a great boxer. If that's what I'm talking about. Julio Cesar Chavez doesn't have one notable win on his record against anyone. Julio Cesar Chavez was a guy that missed weight almost every fight that he fought. Julio Cesar Chavez is no one that I can say, man, you beat somebody. I'm going to tell you right now, if anybody want to win some money, take my advice. Anderson Silva is going to get knocked out.
How old is Silva now? Let's look that up. He's 47.
Okay, 47 years old. And how old is Jake Paul?
Like 24.
And how old is Chavez Jr.?
Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is 36.
He ain't a junior no more. Okay, that's my point. Okay, so
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think he gets knocked out. I don't think he gets knocked out.
I'll tell you, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. He gets stopped. Jake Paul is young. He's strong. His endurance is gonna be better. One shot. That's all it's gonna take. One mediocre shot to behind the ear. Top of the head. So he's going out. He's going.
You think he knocks him out? He knocks him out. No doubt about it.
No doubt about it.
Wow. I don't know. Maybe he does. I mean, he's knocked out Woodley. He knocked out Askren.
I'm trying to tell you. You don't have to believe me now. You don't even have to debate with me now. After the fight, you'll be saying, look, you was right. You called it again.
Well, here's where I'll agree with you.
47 years old.
That's the big sticking point for me, because Tyron is what, 37, 38, 39, somewhere in that range, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, I thought Tyron was a good matchup for Jake Paul. I was like, that's actually a pretty good matchup. When I looked at Ben Askren, I'm like, this is a step up in competition, right? I don't know how far of a step up, but a step up nonetheless. Do you think that Anderson Silva is a step up from Tyron Woodley?
No.
I don't. I agree. I don't think he's a step up. I think that he's a step below, only for his age. His striking ability, I don't question.
47 years. Look here. If I'm gonna tell you, let me put it like let me go back a second. If Anderson Silva would have knocked Julio Cesar Chavez out, Julio wanted to quit in that fight just because he's a quitter. No, I'm serious. But if he would have knocked Julio Cesar Chavez out, I would give him a little bit more chance in this fight, just because he knocked out a boxer. But Julio Cesar Chavez lasted in that fight, and the thing is, Silva was a better boxer than he was, and it's just because his skills has corroded so far as a boxer. Julio Cesar Chavez, a guy who loved nothing but partying, the women, in the reefer throughout his whole career. I'm serious, bro. I know the career of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., so I don't give him a lot of credit as far as beating Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He will get knocked out in this fight. Trust me on that. If you want to,
now,
like Muhammad Ali said, if you want to lose your money, be a fool and bet on Sonny.
Now I will say Anderson Silva has a professional boxing record of 3 wins and 1 loss. He lost his debut fight back in 1998 to Osmar Luis Teixeira.
Why you gotta say it like it's in the ace, AD or something like that?
Because that's what it feels like when I see 1998 and a guy's still fighting. You know what I mean? 1998. Then he won against Julio Cesar de Jesus in 2005. Won against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and then knocked out in the first round Tito Ortiz, who everyone's shock and awe, I'm sure. So he doesn't have the greatest record to compare. But now that it's Jake, and I will say this: am I interested in Paul versus Silva? Yes, I'm interested. I mean, I love Anderson Silva. It's a spider. I want to see what it's going to happen. However, this is the last one. If he doesn't fight an
Not the
actual
last one, man.
no, I'm saying if he doesn't fight an actual boxer, I'm not going to care anymore because it's like, okay, the third MMA. This is the
Wait a
fourth
minute.
time he's fought an MMA
Wait a
guy.
minute. See, you know, that's kind of like I don't know, man.
Well, the novelty's going to wear off.
Look at what you're saying, though. Look what you're saying. You're saying I'm interested in this, in this one right here.
Because of Silva. I am interested because of Silva.
But you're interested only if Jake Paul loses.
No. I actually think Jake Paul has skill and ability. I
So
just want to see him step up in the comp. Let's see if he can actually fight these guys. You know what I mean? Because it's like, what do you get for beating up a 50-year-old retired MMA fighter?
You know what he get
Except
is,
for a check.
I mean, now he get a check, but he's got a chance to lose as well. He can get egg all over his face going.
He
out
could
there, get knocked out by Anderson Silva. So this is a risk that he's taking as well. So let's just not throw Jake Paul under the bus because
I'm not throwing him under the bus. I'm just saying, like, how? Okay, let me ask you this: do you just want him to fight MMA fighters for the rest of his career?
Look, man, I don't care. This is entertainment for me watching this kind of stuff. I'm not going to look at Jake Paul. Just say, for instance, if Jake Paul was to get into boxing tomorrow, if you know Eddie Hearn was to sign him to Matchroom Boxing tomorrow, okay,
He'd be fighting in Dubai in about a week.
No, I don't. What I'm saying is, I don't think against a professional boxer, he's probably going to have a little chance to win against most of those guys. It's just a fact. It really is.
A small chance of winning, you said?
A small chance of winning
Yeah.
against most of the professional boxers in the world, because this guy hadn't been training since he was a little kid or anything like that. He hadn't went to the Olympics or anything like that. This is a novelty. This guy's a YouTuber. I mean, come on, what can you expect from someone like Jake Paul? I mean,
I'm not expecting him to be the heavyweight champion of the world, but I just wonder how much longer can we do this gimmick? You know what I mean?
You do this gimmick till you can't do it no more. I think. Me personally,
so just keep fighting MMA fighters.
I think Jake Paul would be a fool to go and try to fight him, professional boxing. I mean, and he's making more money than most of the boxers. What sense does that make?
I guess from a business sense, it doesn't. But I guess it depends on what he wants to do. Like, does he want to actually challenge himself, or does he want to just get these fights?
Just said, from a business perspective, it sounds smart, right? It sounds smart.
Does.
Sounds really smart.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm the customer. I'm the one who's going to buy the fight, right?
But the thing is, you challenge yourself when you walk through those ropes and put your hands up against another man. That's what a challenge comes in. And if those guys are willing to do it, like Tyron Woodley, you don't think he won another fight with Jake Paul? Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, Tyron Woodley was anticipating that check. that thing, it didn't happen. We gotta take a break, man. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
What the indie world meant to me. It was kind of like when you were an artist and you start, like for example, a comedian, you start playing the small clubs. If you're a band, the same thing. You start playing the small clubs, you kind of learn your repertoire, you learn how different audiences react. There's like maybe more hostile environment, and it's way more personal because there's less people there. There's less of like things around. It's just you and the audience, and I feel that's when you really learn your craft. That's when you learn how to adapt, how to change, how to find something that works. So to me, it's kind of the foundation to everything I do. And that's Big E. And that's his foundation to everything he does.
Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Sure. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, man. How the Millphones feeling? They feeling good, huh?
They're nice and cool. You know what I mean? They don't get hot. That's the only thing I didn't like. And you know what, Beats, if y'all ever want to sponsor the show, I will gladly retract my statement. But I'm just saying the Beats would always make my ears sweat a little bit.
Got to get a little air conditioning. They got a little air conditioning in these right here.
These have a cooling technique. Shout out to Rode Mics for hooking it up.
Yeah. Rode cool earphones.
Yes. Very cool.
Just
very cool.
Get out there.
Book. We were talking about Jake Paul, Anderson Silva, and you said, hey, why screw up a good thing? If you're getting paid off of these fights, if you're winning these fights, why stop it? So here's my question. I know you don't like to play Booker in wrestling, but let's play Booker in this game. Say he gets past Anderson Silva, lives up to your prediction, knocks him out. Is there another compelling fight out there for Jake Paul sans a Conor McGregor that he's been talking about for years? Is there any other retired MMA fighter that you would like to see? Now, he's also floated the idea of fighting Mike Tyson, which I don't actually know if that would be a great idea. But what do you think?
I don't know, man. It's not like I've been, trying to matchmake for some YouTube guy, or anything like that.
I'm just saying, fantasy book for us here. What would be a good matchup? What do you think of him and Tyson?
You know what? I don't think that'll be a good fight for Tyson, to be honest. I just don't, I don't know if you guys remember the last guy Mike Tyson lost to. Okay? If you don't, just go back on YouTube. Go back on YouTube, Mike Tyson at the end of his career. And it wasn't a beautiful sight. It wasn't a beautiful sight. Mike Tyson is nowhere near the fighter that he was once upon a time. We may think he is, because he got in there with Roy Jones, who's a fighter who was much smaller in his day of fighting in a heavyweight body against Mike Tyson in an exhibition. Let's not take our heads there or anything like that. No, that wouldn't be a good fight for Mike Tyson.
What about a Conor McGregor versus Jake Paul?
You know what? I wouldn't mind seeing a Conor McGregor versus Jake Paul. I mean, just because Conor McGregor is a guy who's still young. He's put on a hell of a lot of weight. And Conor McGregor actually fought very well against, the best fighter in the world, of all time, Floyd Money Mayweather. I mean, he actually did well in that fight, even though I feel like Floyd carried him 5 rounds. I really do. No, I'm serious. I feel like Floyd carried him. I mean, that fight could have been like Natsukawa against Floyd Mayweather if he wanted it to. But he'd say, let's give these people their money's worth. I'm going to carry this guy, and I'm going to walk him down, for however long it takes, but I'm going to stop him. That's what that fight was all about. But did Conor McGregor have good skill? Do I think he could go out and match up, with Jake Paul in a fight? I don't know, but I think it'll be good. I think that would be one that I would definitely be willing to pay money to see.
That's probably the biggest one out there, if I can think. Because I mean, at least with Conor, he's had a professional boxing fight, right? And we know that you're right. He had flashes of a guy knowing what he was doing inside the boxing ring.
Oh yeah,
against one of the greatest fighters ever. He had some great flashes, landed some great shots. Like, I know Floyd wanted to keep it going. I don't think Floyd wanted to get tapped on the chin with that big uppercut that Conor hit him with. A couple other things, right?
Floyd walked him down
and got him out on his feet. We're not saying that he was going to beat Floyd.
Yeah, but you talk about the shots that Floyd took in that fight. Floyd didn't have to take those shots. He didn't have to. Floyd entertained the people that night because he knew he was in a fight with a much less superior fighter than he was. It's as simple as that. People could take it for what it, however they want it. But that's my opinion on, that fight. And I said it, it was going to go 8 rounds. I said 8.
Yeah. It was real close. It was like right on the money.
It was real close to it being exactly to what I said it was going to be over with.
Yeah. No, and I remember that. But I guess what people fail to realize is you can be great in one sport and make no there's a big difference. Make no mistake, there's a big difference between boxing and MMA, right? There's a huge difference. They're 2 separate sports. They're both combat sports, but they're both different sports. Just because football and basketball have the word ball in the title doesn't mean that they're similar or related. And you can be great in one of those sports and just not be at that same level in another. That greatness doesn't always transfer over. You can look at guys like Michael Jordan, without a doubt, the greatest basketball player of all time. When he went to play professional baseball, wasn't great. Wasn't great. He had a homer here or two as the minor league team for the White Sox, but didn't do a whole hell of a lot, right? So that greatness doesn't always can't transfer over. So going back to Conor and the Floyd fight, I wasn't shocked by that. But do I think Conor McGregor and Jake Paul would actually be, on paper, a better matchup, or a good matchup? Yeah, I would actually be really intrigued in that. So I guess I recant my earlier statement about not wanting him to see fight another retired MMA fighter, because Conor's a very interesting one. Conor's a very interesting one.
That is right there. So you answered your own question.
I might put money on Conor only for this reason. Is Anderson knocked guys out before, but it was mainly with his feet, right? He was very educated with his feet. He would have strikes as well, mainly with his feet. Conor wasn't really a gifted MMA fighter in any stretch of the imagination, but he had good hands.
Yeah. I would not put money on Conor in that fight. Conor would lose that fight as well.
But I think Conor can't risk taking that fight.
I mean, he can't risk taking it, of course, but I think he would lose that fight as well. As well as
I don't think so.
Conor's a quitter. We've seen Conor quit on multiple occasions.
That is true.
And if you get hit with one good shot, he's going to fold. He will quit. And that's just the way I see it. As well as Jake Paul's a big guy. He ain't going to be like Floyd. I mean, come on, man. Let's be real here. Jake
Paul is a big dude. He got a lot of power behind him. It's going to be interesting.
I've set the table with this guy. He's a big dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was on the pre-show, the kickoff show for SummerSlam. He's a big guy. He's deceptively big. So is his brother.
Yeah.
Seriously. His brother's like a deceptively large guy.
Oh, his brother is as well. So, yeah. So you got to look at stuff like that from a realistic perspective when we're talking about throwing hands, Brad.
Okay. But going to UFC, going to boxing, is it just me, or have there not been a lot of compelling fights made lately? Because I love talking about fights. I love watching them. But as of late, compelling ones, there haven't been a lot that I say, oh, I got to sit down and watch this tonight.
Tank Davis been the highlight, for me as of late. He's been much watched, no matter who he's fighting. No, but it hadn't been a whole lot of great, fights out there as of late. Yeah, just because, there again, you got PBC, you got Matchroom, and got a lot of fighters over here. Devin Haney's of the world over there on that side of the world. Then you got the Tank Davis is on this side of the world, and there's no way to match those guys up so they can get in there and actually do it. So it's always gonna be that rat race and that monopoly in boxing, to where it's all about who I can get under contract. Don King made it famous, for many years. Let me get all the boxers, and I could determine who they're gonna fight, when they're gonna fight. If they lose, they don't even have to lose. We can fix that too. Boxing is a game, man. You got to know how to play it.
Yeah, man. I haven't seen a whole hell of a lot, and a lot of the names are kind of going away. Like Tyson Fury announced his retirement. We haven't heard anything from Deontay Wilder since
like I said, he's getting ready to fight next month, I think. Like I said, against Helenius. Yeah, and that fight's going to be at the Barclays in Brooklyn. So I would love to go and check it out, but I just don't like going to that arena, because, man, you got to bus in, train in, walk in, Uber in, but you ain't driving in. So it's one of them type of deals, man. I'm gonna lay out on the fights until it's back in Vegas or LA. LA, you just want to be a part of the environment. You know what I mean? All the stars come out in Vegas, and you just want to be a part of that. But I am looking forward to the next big fight. So I'll keep my ears out.
Let's keep our ears out. Book, there's still a whole lot that we haven't talked about. We haven't talked any pro wrestling so far today. There's a lot of stuff going on in WWE. Things all over the atmosphere. But I also want to remind everybody that if you missed out last weekend, the Reality of Wrestling Gold Rush at the World Gym Arena, you don't want to miss the television show that we taped on there, because we had the big casket match. We had a huge heavyweight title match between Edge Stone and Mysterious Q. Also, the Heat made their presence known at the Reality of Wrestling. So definitely catch those on CW39 if you're here in the Houston area, or on the Reality of Wrestling YouTube channel, which we want to thank the over 620,000 subscribers to the channel. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Making our way to 700K, man. We want 1 million.
I know. I want that.
We want 1 million, man. We got to get that algorithm going, man. We need you guys to do it. Hey, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
And if that wasn't enough, you took me on that vacation just to cover it all up.
You wanted to go on that vacation. You wanted to go on that vacation for years.
And you took me just to hide your antics. What kind of person does that?
What of it?
You know what? But I have the answer. Oh, yeah. We are going to choose teams and wrestle for control of this company. Team Booker versus Team Sharmell.
Team Booker versus Team Sharmell.
Yeah.
My team will crush your team any day.
In your
the hell
dreams.
you talking about?
In your
I got
dreams.
gas for every guy in this company. I own them. They work for me. And you know what? You know what? If you want that, if you really want that,
spit it out.
You got it.
Good.
And I tell you what, I'm gonna fire all y'all asses. All right? Soon as I win, Sam, your ass is out. Let's go, Gaspar.
I am so sorry. No one who is in charge of a company should speak like that. That's why, board, I'm so thankful I have your support.
Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, with my man Brad Gilmore, and we just chopping it up, man. I know Brad I know he want to talk some wrestling, man. I know he want to get into what's going on in the wrestling world today. Damage Control, the new tag team champions, Dakota Kai, Io Sky. I just like the way that sound.
It's nice.
Kai is Sky. That's the way I would be called. That's the way I would say it. You know, I just got all the rest of it out. You know, I'll tell you, we got something right there. Don't trademark it. Don't trademark it now, because I came up with it. But yeah, man, it's a lot going on out there. Where you want to start, man?
We know we have
and I know we got some super chatters too. We got to get to.
Yeah, we have super chat that actually goes into that topic right now from our main man, Callie Toenail. Callie said, "Why did they do Raquel and Aaliyah like that? Why let them win the tournament? I hate to see Raquel fall back. Hopefully they're planning her singles run." Yeah, so going into what you said, Raquel Rodriguez, Aaliyah, they won the titles in the big tournament. They actually beat Damage Control to win the titles. Yeah. And then I think it's been maybe 2 weeks-ish.
Yeah.
And on Raw, Damage Control got the titles. They won the titles now. Do you think that put Aaliyah and Raquel in a bad light at all? If they just wanted to get the titles on Damage Control, why do it this way? I mean, I don't really know. I don't think that they really got hurt because they won the titles. They were the champions, right?
Nobody loses in this match.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, one thing about Damage Control, they wasn't brought back, for no reason. They wasn't brought back just to be put on the roster and go out there and lose, and win and lose. No, it's more of it's a bigger plan here, I think, than just the Raquel and Aaliyah having the titles. Aaliyah and Raquel, just say for instance, they win them again, they're 2-time champions. So it's a win-win situation here, as far as I'm concerned. Nobody loses here.
And I think that there's a lot of steam behind Damage Control since they made their kind of debut as a faction at SummerSlam. And there's still those pending rumors out there that we're going to see Sasha and Naomi back. It would make sense if Sasha and Naomi come back. They're probably going to be positioned as baby faces, I would assume. Anytime somebody makes a return, they're kind of de facto baby face. And if they do that, they need a heel team to work. It's not like you're going to have a whole lot of heat in a match with Sasha, Naomi, Aaliyah, and Raquel. So go with Bailey and Damage Control. If that's the program you're setting up. Now, I don't know if that's what they're doing, but I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, yeah. My thing is, you got to be able to spread it around. You got to be able to, think on the fly. And I don't think, I think Raquel and Aaliyah loses nothing losing that match. You know what I mean? Would people have loved to have seen them run with the titles longer? Probably. Why? Because they like them. You know what I mean? But for me, I'm thinking about the story. I'm thinking about how we can create, and I think the right thing was done, to be honest.
So do you foresee WWE creating more women's tag teams in order to kind of make this division feel full? I think that's always kind of been the criticism of the women's tag team titles is there's not enough teams. Not that the women teams that we have aren't great. There's just not a plurality of teams. Do you see them kind of putting emphasis on that now?
I see a whole lot different. I see a whole lot difference going on in general. Bringing Dakota Kai and Io Sky back to be in a tag team. That right there is telling me, okay, let's try to build this thing. Let's try to make this a little bit more interesting. Just say, for instance, Sasha and Naomi walk back in the door today. You know what I mean? We got something right there as well. So I think the old regime really like having it their way, and I think we're in a new phase of WWE now. People may not feel it the way I do, but man, it feels different to me when I watch the show. It seems like, as well as I hear a lot of the chatter as far as how guys are relaxed, and feeling comfortable about just being at work. And I tell you, that's one thing that I always felt, back in my day when I came to the company. It wasn't like, walking on pins and needles or anything like that. We didn't, walk on eggshells. It was cool coming to work. It was fun coming to work. And it seems like, having Triple H in charge, it's got a lot of that feel back.
Well, I think that you can't discount enjoying going to work and what that makes you want to do. That makes you want to work harder, right? Like if you enjoy what you're doing, you want to put more into it. If you don't like what you're doing, they're going to do this thing. Have you heard this new phenomenon, quiet quitting? Have you heard of this?
No, I haven't heard that.
So quiet quitting is essentially you're still going to your job, you're still showing up every day, but you're putting in your lowest minimal effort possible. You're getting everything done, but you're not overdoing it. And I think that if you don't enjoy the environment, that's what you're doing. You're quiet quitting. Hey, it still pays my bills. I'm going to show up. I'm going to get the job done. I'm going to move on. But I have heard guys like Omos, I saw do an interview, and he said the backstage environment is completely different. And that was a guy who's just there for a little while on the main roster, and he already sees a significant difference. And I don't know. I mean, I was never backstage, like working for the WWE. I don't know how high strung everybody was, but I'm sure. What?
It's been high strung.
Yeah.
I remember one time, this kid, he came to me and he goes, "Hey, Book." He was a kid. I think he was trying to come down to my wrestling school, and it was tough for these young guys. And he wanted to talk to me, and he said, "Hey, Book, you mind if I looked over one shoulder and looked over the other one? You mind if I talk to you?" Yeah, man. But he was so nervous about talking to me, man. I'm like, bro, come on, yeah. I mean, but it's definitely. I understand. The business changed, and got a lot of guys were coming from that OVW system, I think it was called back then, and it was different for those young guys. Getting in the business, it wasn't as fun, for a lot of those guys that were coming up back then. And I'm just glad I came up in the era I did, opposed to some of the money I hear these guys making these days.
Money's nice, right? Nowadays, right?
Yeah.
They're getting paid a lot, but money's worth less too, if you look at it that way.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Money's not worth as much as it was when you were making those WCW checks.
No, I mean, but still, it just, just sounds good.
It does sound good.
Yeah.
I was shocked, like back in the day, and you can answer this. Like, I always heard this term "sting money." Like, oh man, that's what I've heard on like wrestlers talking interviews and podcasts and stuff that they used to say, "Is it sting money? Like, are you making sting money?" Did you ever hear that before?
I never heard that.
Really? Okay, because I guess that he was the highest paid guy at one point in WCW. So they're saying, "Oh man, it's sting money," or I think it was Kevin Nash who said, "Man, I'm making over sting money now," or something like that.
I mean, those guys were high, competing against each other as far as that went back in the day, man. They were really serious about, being, top tier, top paid guys. And I get it. I mean, I was one of them, I wanted to get paid as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, did you was there ever any conversations backstage where guys were like, "Hey man, like what's your check looking like?" Or did y'all talk about what kind of money you're making?
I never talked to anybody about their money, man, because that just could throw you off, because just say, for instance, when I first came into WCW, I was making $75,000 a year. And I know guys were making, 250, 300, 400. I knew that, but if I thought about those guys' money, I would never reach that goal, or surpass, those guys if I thought about what I was making at that point. You know what I mean? So I always tried to figure out how I was going to get to that point where I was making, just as much or more, so. But you can't do it overnight, and you can't just come in saying, "I want money." You got to go out and prove how good you really are before you start talking about, "Give me some money."
Okay. Hey, we got another super chat here. This is from the Gav Noir, who says, "Second time lucky with the super chat after last week. Shout out from London. Why have pay-per-views moved to Saturday? It's good for us UK fans, though. Gotta love it."
Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, I love it as well.
Me too.
I don't know what was the big difference, what was the big change in moving to Saturday, but maybe to give those guys that Sunday off, and let that just be a travel day where they could have, that day off in between that Monday, because coming off that pay-per-view and then going straight to TV to give out 100% all over again. It's hard. It's really hard. So for me, if that is the case, to why they have moved it to Saturday, it will really be good. But for me, I love being able to, go to the show and catch that flight and be home early Sunday morning, and boom, I'll be on the golf course by noon, man. So it is a great Sunday too, because I'm, watching the Golf Channel as I'm out on the golf course, relaxing, enjoying life, so I love it. And hopefully you guys over there in the UK will continue to enjoy, because Extreme Rules is going to be coming up on October the 8th, Saturday, October the 8th. So let's get ready to rock it and have some fun.
Let's do it, Book. Well, I think we're due for a break here, and then we got more super chats to talk about. Got a couple more news stories to get to. We'll see if we can get to it all.
Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
Wrestling is also brought to you by one of our major sponsors, Jerome Karam and Karam Investments, for the Mainland City Center. Mainland City Center features 750,000 square feet of commercial property where you can eat, you can have fun, you can be entertained for the whole family. Mainland City Center is a Galveston County family entertainment and lifestyle destination for the whole family to enjoy. Mainland City Center, lifestyle, fun, entertainment, family. You can visit them online at mainlandcitycenter.com. That's mainlandcitycenter.com. Paid monetary spokesperson for Walker, Texas Lawyer.
Hall of Famer Booker T here, and I've been crushing opponents in the ring for over 20 years. But Walker, Texas Lawyer, been crushing insurance companies in the courtroom for over 30. If you're injured, call Walker, and he'll crush the insurance company for you. Now, can you dig that? Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We're gonna keep this thing rolling. We got any more super chats? So you got some on your mind you want to talk about?
We do. We do have more super chats and something on my mind, both. And we don't have to get too much into it. And I know we're not the All Elite Wrestling YouTube channel, but there is one thing I just want to get your opinion on. We all know about the suspensions that were handed down at AEW over the incident backstage, right? Since that report, we've now heard that the Young Bucks have been putting feelers out to the WWE in order to maybe see if there'd be some interest over there on that side of bringing in their services. Have you seen those rumors? Oh, wait a minute. I think Book's frozen. And that is a great frozen photo. By the way, so we're gonna get Booker back on here. You know, the King. I'll be honest with you, we're not too far away from one another in here in the great city and state of Houston, Texas. And sometimes the internet out here is a little spotty. I'm not gonna lie to you. So we're gonna get Booker T back on. But what do you all think about the Young Bucks potentially entertaining the idea of going to All Elite Wrestling? Is he back?
I think I'm back. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Man, some green. Somebody cooking something in the house, man. I don't know what it was, but knocked the signal out.
Those greens are strong, man.
Go ahead, man. We talking about All Elite. Talking about All Elite.
I was just asking you that. I mean, after the suspensions were handed down, there's been a rumor online, and it seems like it's been confirmed, but people are denying it, things of that nature. But the Young Bucks apparently have put out feelers to the WWE to see if there's any interest in bringing in their services. I mean, just what do you think about that? Because they're executive vice presidents of the company. They're under contract for another 2 years. I know they did. Remember on our old radio show, I don't know if you remember, we had the Young Bucks on, and they actually alluded to the fact that they were negotiating with WWE and Triple H to come into NXT at the time. They said they were weighing their options. They told us that on the radio, you and I. What do you think of that? Do you think that there'd be interest from WWE? It's hard to say, but
I've heard so many guys, so many shows talk about, what the Young Bucks are doing, what CM Punk is doing, what every
well, it's newsworthy.
And I get it. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
You're AEW'd out.
It's not that, man. It's just that everybody's talking about, just say, for instance, the Young Bucks. We hear somebody, if I say, yeah, man, they may have somebody going to tomorrow say, Booker T said they may have reached out. Okay, see, and it's just because it's
well, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
It's just stupid. But my thing is this: I don't see this me being a realist right now. I'm just being a realist, okay? The Young Bucks been in AEW now for what?
3 years.
3 years. They've been getting paid for how long from AEW?
3 years.
They should be okay as far as money goes. I don't think that they're like some indie guys that's going to be looking for a job immediately because they had a fight or a misunderstanding, with somebody at work, even the boss, Tony Khan. I don't think they're going to, let's call WWE, let's see what they're talking about. And that just sounds so childish, but it could be true. It could be true, but a lot of people are just making up stories right now. And I just do not see the Young Bucks getting in touch with WWE upper management and saying, hey, man, what do you think? After they've had a kerfuffle, as Judy would say, with somebody at work.
A kerfuffle, indeed.
You like that, huh?
That was good. I don't disagree with you. I don't really buy into it. I don't know why they would want to make a jump.
Just makes no sense. It makes zero sense. If it was a year after they had this, they had left AEW, been over in Japan, something came out, Young Bucks thinking about going to WWE. I could believe that. But after one kerfuffle, no, I don't believe. I ain't buying into that, man.
Well, we have another super chat. This is from Brooklyn Brian, AEW related. MJF acknowledged the bloodline. We the Ones 2024. I think the 2024 is alluding to when MJF's contract is up. I think that he also does that just to stir the pot.
You know, it's good for him to do that. You know what I mean? He's definitely throwing up smoke signals and saying, hey, I'm just in case. And I get that, but me personally, I just don't think MJF needs to do that. I don't think he needs to, do the extra, what we call it, trying to court, WWE. I think they know who he is. I think they know what he brings to the table. And I think if there's a time to where MJF contract is up and he want to make the switch to WWE, I think the door will be open. I really do.
I think so too, but it kind of leads me to another question. Like back in the day, when the war was really on and heavy between WCW and WWF, if you saw those guys out and about from the other side, would y'all stop and chat, or would you just kind of look and keep it moving? Would there ever be words exchanged, or was it ever that really personal?
I can honestly say I've never had a personal issue with anybody in WWF when I was in WCW. Not one time. I've never, run across any, because just think about it. A lot of those guys went from WCW to WWF, back in the day. So we knew each other. So, and it wasn't like we were, had personal beef with each other or anything like that. That was West Coast, East Coast beef. You know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't personal with us or anything like that. We were all just trying to get paid, you know what I mean? So I've never once looked at The Rock and say, man, I can't wait to see this guy just, to say something negative to him. It wasn't like that at all.
Yeah, it's almost interesting phenomenon though. Like if you were a WWF guy, like I could say this from experience. Like if I was a WWF fan, right? So if one of our guys jumped over to WCW, all of a sudden we hated him, right? We're like, oh my God, I can't believe he jumped ship. Da, 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 da. It's almost like when a player switches teams. Monday Night Football this past Monday had the Seahawks of the Broncos, and Russell Wilson now plays for the Broncos. And he walked in the stadium in the city that he brought a championship to, and they booed the hell out of this man. Like royally booed the hell out of him. Yeah. And only thing that changed about him is he's wearing different colors.
It's the name of the game, man. You walk away from the team, it's hard to, take you back. It's like LeBron leaving Cleveland,
Right. They hated him.
It's hard, man. You know what I mean? We don't want to have nothing to do with you. You know what I mean?
And when he came back,
we love
icon. We love you.
We love you. You know, you think, God, you came back. That's one of those type of deals, man. That's the American way.
So stupid.
I'm serious, man. That's the American way, bro. It's just
so stupid.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Bryan chimes in again. Matt Cardona versus Bully Ray, December the 17th at Battleground.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Matt Cardona. I wonder if Matt Cardona gonna make his way back to the big time. He's been out there doing a lot of GCW stuff, hardcore matches, death matches, stuff like that.
Yeah.
He should have thought about that when he was in that wheelchair when they pushed him off the stage when Kane rolled him off. That was the beginning of the death match for Matt Cardona.
I still can't believe he did that.
I know somebody gonna say something about that because that was the craziest thing I ever seen in my life.
Well,
he looked like Evel Knievel.
On one of the unsuccessful attempts that Evil had.
In the Astrodome, 1975. 76, that was.
I always like Zack Ryder. I will say back at WrestleMania 32 in Dallas with 101,000 people there, he got such a massive ovation when he won the Intercontinental title. And it just never seemed to sustain for him. And I don't know what the issue was there, but he would have like this little run and then go away for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then you have the famous gif of the Hype Bros. I hate these guys. Which, if anybody goes to the Twitter and they go to the GIF library and they type in Booker T, that's the first one up there.
That's messed up.
The Hype Bros. I hate these guys.
Oh my God. I didn't like them actually. It was high. It was nowhere near my fave 5, anything like that. But I did like the woo 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 thing when he first came out. Thought Zack Ryder had something, when he had that YouTube channel. A lot of these young people was digging that stuff, and that's what, he would have fit right into AEW. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think right in the beginning of his woo 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 and coming in, Long Island IZ thing, and I really think he would have fit right into AEW, if he would have started there. What do you
I
think?
see, because it has like a I don't want to say indie because that word has like a negative connotation to it.
Like that Joey Janela like type thing,
Yeah, maybe a little bit bigger than that. You know what I mean? I never really understood, like, and then no disrespect to Joey Janela, but like I wasn't like on the Joey bandwagon. I'm gonna go to see every match. But Long Island IZ was dope. Like he had a little run there to where, I mean, he was getting old.
Maybe those two could be a tag team. You know what I mean?
Maybe they could. They could.
Joey Janela, he's like a bad boy he's like New Jersey or something, right?
Yeah, but you know what? I have a great idea. They could set Joey Janela's boots on fire and then shove him off the stage in a wheelchair. You could have best of both worlds.
So that's probably what they would do with both of them. But
I think we're due for a break.
Hey man, you're in the Hall of Fame. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ. Man, Brad Gilmore. Still,
you all right there, Book?
Just been wiping my eyes, man, for the last minute. We're crying, man. Stupid, man.
This is the show. This is the show. We have a lot of super chats. This is our last segment of the night, so we might as well get to them all. This one comes from Brooklyn Brian, who says Sasha Banks and Naomi in New York Fashion Week, Damage Control, hashtag and new tag champs, Io Sky and Dakota Kai, Bailey versus Bianca next. Let's go. Yes, did you see Sasha and Naomi at New York Fashion Week?
No, I did, man, but I did hear some comments that Sasha made. She said it was like her first wrestling match, had that feel to it. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, awesome for them, man.
Yeah, they're out there modeling for some clothing line. I'm not exactly sure what. Yeah. Lord Frieza, hey, Book, how would you feel about Wilder versus Ruiz?
You know, man, I think that's a good fight, man. I think that's a really good fight. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's a fight that Wilder can lose, man, because after watching Ruiz versus King Kong Ortiz, I thought Ortiz was going to win that fight, and then I switched it back to Ruiz. But I'm going to tell you, man, Ruiz young, fast hands, almost got that boy out of there several times, and that don't happen to Ortiz too often in that fashion. And the same thing, the exact same thing could happen to Deontay Wilder, because I'm going to tell you, Ruiz, for his body type, not to be the prototype body that you normally would see or want to see out of a championship boxer, this guy got all the tools, man. And I think he have a good chance at winning that fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like it on paper. You have two former heavyweight champions of the world. I mean, it sells itself as far as pay-per-view goes. And I like the matchup. You know, I'd like to think that Wilder would, I think that he would handle his own, obviously. And Ruiz is good, and he can be, and he has flashes of great. I would like Wilder in that one.
You know
I think.
what? I think if Wilder get through Helena's, I think it's inevitable that these two gotta meet. That's the next big fight as far as the heavyweight division goes.
I agree. It's one I'd pay for. Brooklyn Bryan said New York Jets won. Saquon Barkley 196 yards rushing. Oh, good for you, man. You saw the Texans.
Dallas, man, the Texans, man. Did Texas lose that game, didn't they?
They tied.
Oh my God.
It's almost worse.
You know what, man? It was coming down to the last couple of minutes, and I saw us getting ready. I turned the channel. I stopped watching. And poor Dallas, man. Dak Prescott, broken thumb already. First game of the season. I mean,
they got their tails kicked by
Texas, man. We ain't having no luck as far as winning goes. That's all. Astros, get them boys.
Astros, baby.
That's our boys right there, the Astros. But what else we got?
We'll see what the Rockets look like this season. They're in a rebuilding phase, but I have faith in them. Cali Toenail says, "Oh no, we already got to that one. Our next one, I know there's another one here. Here we go. This from Cali Toenail. Both the collection is dope. Has an old school vibe to it. Any interviews coming up with the Goonies, Lost Boys, Kid and Play? No, but do you remember, Book? Remember back in the day we had that Debonair Lounge back in the day, like 8-9 years ago. Were you ever there? Because Kid from Kid and Play would come in all the time. Were you ever there at the same time Kid was?
I wasn't there.
Did you ever run into him?
No, I never ran into him there.
Yeah, Kid was there all the time, and I just remember it was so random one night. I'm looking out there and I talked to my friend Tay and I was like, is that Kid from Kid and Play? Because he doesn't have the gimmick anymore, the big tall hair.
Does he live here?
I think he was here working on something. Okay. So he was here for like 6 to 8 months. And then because he was around all the time. And I don't know. I think he's probably back in LA now. Who the hell knows? Kid and Play. Dope act. The Shotgun BIGSOL. Yo, OGBT, whatever happened to the damn Shoop shirts?
Man, I know everybody want to kill me for the Ship shirts. Good thing I have a soul in him. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. You'd be like LeVar Ball trying to sell those sneakers, trying to fill those orders.
I'd be like Buff Bagwell. Just selling stuff and ain't got no merchandise to sell. No, man, I just been working, man. I just been working. Ship shirts definitely are something that's on the list. Just hadn't been, I guess, main priority. But definitely, we're gonna get some ship shirts for you, man. Trust me on that. Trust me, we're gonna get them. Just gotta make it happen.
All right, Infinity Westbrook says, "What is your Mount Rushmore? Cena and what other three? Is John Cena on your Mount Rushmore?" He's assuming that. Infinity Westbrook's assuming that Cena's on your Mount Rushmore.
Man.
I mean, I guess he'd have to be, right?
In WWE?
In WWE, he's got to be.
I mean,
it's not.
Yeah, he would be on the Rushmore in WWE. I don't know. I'm not one of these Rushmore like type guys, but as far as WWE Mount Rushmore, it would definitely be, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, John Cena, and probably Triple H.
Yeah, I mean, I think that fourth, Teddy Roosevelt face is like you could change it with Triple H. You could put Taker up there.
Yeah,
you could put you could even. I mean, Roman's working on it. He's working on trying to get on that Rushmore, man. I think he's a couple years away.
That's what I mean. The WWE Rushmore. I mean, of course, Taker. I mean, I don't know how. Didn't think about him, but yeah, man. Those guys, man, they did some extraordinary stuff, man. I got a chance to watch it, from afar when I was in WCW, and I watched those guys, create their magic, and I was in awe of what they were doing, and I wanted to be a part of it so bad. But I was happy, at WCW making my money and not having to work in the cold cities. But I tell you, those guys, I'm serious, man. They did some amazing stuff back then. I had a hell of a time watching it.
Let me ask you this, and maybe we've talked about this before at some point. When you went over, let's take those three guys: Austin, Taker, and Rock. Now, did you and Austin work together when he was in WCW?
No.
So Taker, Austin, Rock. Out of those three, who were you most looking forward to getting to the ring with, or did you just got whoever they give me?
I didn't think about it like that, man. I just didn't. I didn't think about working The Rock. I didn't think about working Taker. I didn't. When it happened, I was ready for it. But it wasn't that I went over there thinking about, man, I can't wait to work this guy. Oh man, it's gonna be a pleasure. I never looked at working that way, man, because for me it was always like a fight. I always had a fight feel. I wanted to really beat my opponent up. I wasn't thinking about the moves or the pop of the crowd or anything before it happened. It was different for me, and I must say, I didn't think about those times until I actually had to do it. And coming into the company, it was with Stone Cold Steve Austin the first night. So it was like, go get the work done, and that's about it.
I hear that. We got a couple more that we got to get through. Mike Mayfield, I'm sorry, says, the way Ruby Soho was treated in that match with her nose broken and Sammy dropping her on her head was embarrassing. Should AEW punish Sammy and Ty Conti? I actually don't know about this scenario, Book. I don't know if you
I don't know a whole lot about it either, but Ruby Soho wanted to go over there and have some fun. A lot of those guys wanted to go over there and have some fun. And I tell you, when you're working with people, sometimes things get a little shaky. That's when you really wonder what the hell is going on. What am I thinking? So hey man, I'll go back and check out the footage on that. But hopefully Ruby Soho is okay.
This comes from Elijah Vin. I want to ask a question. A friend of mine told me they hate the old Redskins' new name. Do you guys agree with them or no? I think they're the Commanders now. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think. And the Cleveland Indians changed their name to the Guardians.
Yeah, man, I get it, man. I understand, man. But
me too.
But I don't know, man. I understand having to change the, name the Redskins.
Well, anything that has like a racial connotation to it, probably not a good thing.
No,
like if they had the Green Bay Whiteskins, it might be a bit of an issue.
That's true. That might be true. But I just think sometimes we go a little bit too far as looking for things to attach a racial agenda to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree in some respects.
Did the Indians change their name?
Yeah, they changed their name to the Guardians.
Oh yeah,
they're the Cleveland Guardians now.
And me personally, what's wrong with the Cleveland Indians?
Here's the thing, and I'll be honest with you.
Tell me what's wrong with that.
I'm going to be honest with you. I am not well educated on the proper terminology for Native Americans. I was corrected the other day, and I was told not to say Native American, to say American Indian. I'm be honest with you. I really don't know. I can't tell you. And
yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I say
I'm not sure what the right term is.
Sometimes it takes me to a place to where, okay, I got to go educate myself on this, because I didn't think it was anything wrong with calling an Indian an Indian.
Yeah, I'm to be honest with you, not educated on it either. Yeah, look, hold on.
Y'all know, let me know.
So this is from AmericanIndian.edu. So I'm assuming this is some sort of educational based website about frequently asked questions about Native Americans. And it says American Indian, Native American, or Native are acceptable and often used interchangeably. So it sounds like and then it says Native people often have individual preferences on how they would like to be addressed. To find out which term is best, ask the person or group which they prefer.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Comedians, can you imagine how many people they would offend if they got to go look in the dictionary, the Indian dictionary, to figure out what they want to be called?
Yeah.
It's crazy. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm talking about as far as people taking it and making it something. It's like my wife always say, you go looking through a man's phone, you're trying to find something.
And some people said that you're supposed to say indigenous people, natives. I'm not sure. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know the right term. I don't know. I've always said Native American because that's what I was told. And then somebody corrected me the other day who said they were Native and they say American Indian. So who knows? I think the Cleveland Indians thing was Native American tribes didn't like the mascot more than the name, I think. Because it had like the red stereotypical look.
Yeah.
That I understand.
Like back in the old cowboy days. I got you.
Yeah, that I can understand. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's It's beyond my pay grade.
Yeah,
I'm just here for the games.
Just say it, man. Like I said, I just was wondering about it myself. I mean, we got to get too deep into it, man, because we got to get up out of here, man.
We do.
Got to get up out of here, man. I smell some greens cooking. I got to go get some of them. But I want to thank everybody for stepping inside the Hall of Fame and get your champagne wishes, caviar dream. All the super chatters, appreciate you guys as always. Brad, as always, man, we didn't just talk about AEW today. I appreciate it.
We didn't.
Oh, man, we are not the AEW channel. Right now, guys, peace. We out of here.